By the way, Ben, are you now the new head coach for the Comets? Are you leaving soon or what?
I'm the new head coach for the Comets.
Yeah. When are you going to be in Rapid?
I've been here since the middle of May.
I'm like,
Good start.
Got
Good
it.
start. Good start. He's been there for 2 months.
It's been there
Yeah.
for 2 months. Okay, I guess that's how we're going to start this thing. Okay, well,
Let's go.
welcome back to the Sports Brief Podcast. Colton here, joined by Garrett Gronlund. He's been on the podcast a couple times. Y'all know him. And then also Ben Connot's been on once. He's the new head coach, which you just heard, of the Rapid City Christian Comets. And I actually had a coworker ask me this. Now, I don't remember what field he said, but it was covered by Sandburrs. And I actually got the Slack message, but he asked why you guys will not practice on that field because he wants your players to become tougher.
There you go.
Sounds like Harding County.
Yeah, I was gonna say Harding County.
Harding County. Okay. Well, anyway, let's jump into a full night of a lot of stuff to talk about. I mean, Garrett just signed his Myles Garrett. That is just signed his $1 million deal, more money than most of us will probably ever see in our entire lifetimes. And there's a lot of things going on as well. Before we get into it, those of you that watch us on YouTube, make sure to subscribe down below. Also, leave us a like, helps people find the show, find the channel. Then we're also available on everything else. So make sure you guys also follow us on social media. And also give these guys a follow, too. They're good dudes. So if you guys would do that, that would be great. So let's jump right into this. Breaking news. Myles Garrett signs a $100 million deal. And to me, just looking at this to start out with, I'm like, I don't really know how to handle this because that says to me he's the best defensive player in the NFL. And I don't know that I can say that. We'll start with Ben. What do you think about this deal?
Yeah, it's good on the Browns. I mean, you're stuck in Cleveland. That sucks. He's not the best defensive player. He's not even the best defensive lineman in the NFL. So, I mean, I think we can all agree on that. But the way the NFL's trending, though, holy cow, holy contracts. I mean, the money these guys are getting is incredible. So, I'm sure we're going to see some defensive guys sign bigger contracts, obviously, here in the future, and guys that, are better. And I think we can all, agree with that. So, I guess you're stuck in Cleveland. Good for Myles Garrett. That's all I got to say about that.
Mr. James?
It's kind of tough because I wish that more teams would kind of do what Patrick Mahomes did and been like, hey, I don't want to take this much money so we can build a really good team around me and we can be good for a long time. So, I mean, I feel like the Browns are going to be in a situation like the Bears are in right now where, like, hey, you got your couple years to win, and then, you're going to be – if you don't do it in the next few years, you could be really struggling. And I feel like that whole thing with the Browns, if Baker Mayfield doesn't play, they're going to try to do something new because – I mean, they're going to be hurting on money-wise. And the NFL the cap is always growing. So next year, somebody is going to be the newest it happens every year. Just the newest, highest-paid guy. And it's just going to happen with another defensive lineman next year. And, we'll be saying, guess what? He's not the best defensive player in the league. He's not this. He's not that. So, but one of my favorite because when I saw it, I went and checked out the tweet where I saw he got that big deal. And my favorite tweet below it was he'll be able to swing his helmet at Mason Rudolph's head 2,460 times before he's broke again.
Well, I didn't see that, but I guess that'll be something to incorporate. And those of you, it was funny. I just called you James because your middle name is Garrett James Gronlund. So I want to let everybody know it's because of ingenuity, people. It's or just messing up. We'll go with that too.
It's class.
So I had to apologize for that because I didn't want people to actually think your name was James. Anyway, again, I think we've Ben hit the nail on the head when he said we can all agree he's not the best defensive player. I read that on Bleacher Report, the whole deal. And I'll read a little bit what they put here. This is, once again, according to Bleacher Report. It's a 5-year. He has signed a 5-year deal for $125 million. With $100 million guaranteed, joining Patrick Mahomes, Jared Goff, Carson Wentz, Russell Wilson, and Matt Ryan. And he's getting, we covered, he's getting paid more than a guy like Khalil Mack, who is a proven commodity in this league, a proven commodity as far as a pass rusher, as a leader, and really just in all facets of the NFL. So to me, I think he's got a little bit more to prove to deserve a deal like this. I mean, if we're talking about just like where his career is trending just because of ability and how fierce of an NFL player he is, then yes, I agree with it. But just based on production now, I mean, at one point he was like tied with the NFL in like sacks or whatever. But I mean, then he got suspended, and I don't know how it's going to all play out. But I still think it's a good deal, especially locking up a guy that could potentially be one of the best pass rushers all time, depending on how his career goes. Speaking of contracts, we had this in last week's outline. We're kind of doing this, by the way, for those of you listening to us right now. We're doing this almost like a natural, or this is kind of just a weird way of doing this. We basically are adding new stuff to the outline tonight. This is all offhand with very little research is done. So in some cases, you guys might want to heed what we're saying. In some cases, you will not. But also, we have to talk about Patrick Mahomes signing his major deal. This shocked me. Almost $500 million to play football for the next 12 years with the Chiefs. We'll start with Garrett here. And as a guy, the main reason I want to start with you is because you guys are going to have to face him for the next 12 years at least. Man, how does that look?
It sucks. It really sucks. The one thing about his deal that I thought was really, really smart was I think he's guaranteed $126 million with in case of like an injury type thing. So, I mean, that was good to see him. I mean, really the only thing I don't like about Patrick Mahomes is that he played at Texas Tech and he plays it for the Chiefs. And I was the biggest Patrick Mahomes hater for that reason. And I mean, hey, if you're going to be the best, you got to beat the best. So, I mean, might as well prove it. If you can't prove it, then you don't deserve it.
Yeah, I envy the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't envy Garrett. But yeah, incredible money, and gosh, that's just hard to even wrap your mind around having that much money. And good for him. I'm sure you'll get into this, Colton, but I don't think this is the norm for quarterbacks. I think this is probably the exception. I mean, he is a generational talent, and good for him. Good for him. Good for the Kansas City Chiefs. And I hope that he makes those 12 years special in Kansas City and they put together a dynasty. That'd be awesome.
Stop it.
Being a Midwest guy, you love to see it. Yeah, good for him and good for the Chiefs. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of stinking money.
Yeah, amen. I mean, you hit the nail on it again, on the head again, because 10-year deal, $450 million, 100 whatever guaranteed for injury. Excuse me. No, I think I knew a contract like this was coming. I just didn't know how big it would be. I knew it was obvious. I mean, and for guys like, and we'll get into this a little bit later with Dak Prescott, how that will set the tone for him featuring contract negotiations and guys like if Kirk Cousins finds himself in that situation again. But point is, this contract for Mahomes, I think it makes sense. And it's a lot of money. It is a lot of money again. However, especially if you've got a guy like you said, a generational talent, his second full season in the NFL as a starter, he won a Super Bowl. Second year in the NFL, first time starter, throws for 50 touchdown passes, wins the MVP award. And I mean, like you almost can't write this. Like you almost can't, as a writer, you can't script a better start to an NFL career for a young player, especially for a quarterback. I feel like this is about as good a start as you could get. And I think this is just because he's already won a Super Bowl. I knew he was going to get a lot of money, but again, this is still a very good contract. I think for both sides. Now, the only question is, will they be able to keep some of that talent around, i.e., the Tyreek Hills, the Travis Kelce's, Sammy Watkins, who is extremely and criminally under. Yeah, Cole Hardman. Yeah, man. I was watching the turning point of the Kansas City Chiefs going to the Super Bowl and everything, and there's just the amount of talent they have on the team is just gabberflasting. Like I absolutely can't believe how much talent they have, and maybe that's a reason as to why Mahomes was as good as he was. Yeah. But it's absolutely great to see that. Anyway, let's quit talking and we'll get to what this will do for quarterbacks like Dak Prescott. Now, Dak Prescott has been a guy that obviously a lot of contract talks, a lot of things going on with the Cowboys. We don't know how this is going to end. We don't know what's going to go on here. Ben, what do you think this will do in terms of contract negotiations for Dak Prescott?
I think the Cowboys not getting a deal done. I think it's a lose situation for Dallas and Dak Prescott and fans. If the Cowboys really wanted him, I think they needed to lock him up now this year. And I think if Dak wanted to stay there, he would have found a way to get the deal done. I could see them moving on. I think fans are going to be frustrated this year, especially if things don't go the way they expect it to go with their team that they have now. I think 2019 was kind of his proving year. Did he prove himself? I thought Dak proved himself to be that quarterback. I put him above Kirk Cousins. And so who knows now? I don't know. Dak, I could see Dak getting frustrated and leaving, going somewhere else. I think he could be a starter in a lot of teams in this league, and I think the Cowboys messed up. I think Dak, if he wanted to stay there, he messed up. So I think there's a lose-lose situation and the fans. They lose too. So I think it can get sloppy. I really do, especially if he proves himself here in 2020. We'll see what the Cowboys are willing to throw after this year. So.
Yeah. Garrett, go ahead.
I think he's exactly right on this. Honestly, when I look at the NFL, I think like the biggest winner in this whole deal are teams like the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts are going to have Phillip Rivers this year. He's probably gone. That's going to give them a spot. They want a guy like Dak Prescott who's, going to be able to show that he can do that talent. They're starting to get talent around all of them. I think if you're like an Indianapolis Colts fan, you're jumping for joy at the fact that, you might have Dak Prescott coming in. I do agree that he's a little bit better than Kirk Cousins. I think Kirk Cousins is if you had to grade him, he's a B quarterback, but he's shown that he can be a B plus. Whereas I think, Dak Prescott is like a B plus quarterback. I'm not going to say he's an A by any means or an A minus, but I think he's a B plus quarterback. And I think, if you put some things around him, you could be able to do something. And that's where I feel like Dallas really screwed up because they've got 3 great receivers. They've got they're one of the best offensive lines. They got a great running back. They've got a good defense. And they've got, that B plus quarterback that can, give them a chance at winning. And that's where I'm shocked because I was thinking, I'm like, okay, just give the guy I don't exactly know what Dallas threw at him, but I was thinking they were going to give him around somewhere between 31 to 36 million, something like that. And I was like, hey man, it's worth a legit chance at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can't say that Andy Dalton's better than Dak Prescott.
So what if he does good this year? How much are they gonna have to pay him next year? All this money, the inflation, holy cow. Maybe that's what Dak's holding off on. I don't know. But,
yeah, at least 35
and more. Yeah, you'd think, especially if he shows out and proves that he can really be an elite quarterback.
But then teams are going to be able to match those offers too.
Easy. Dallas is already strapped.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
I don't get it. And like I said, I'm not the biggest Dak Prescott fan. But I mean, if you're a Cowboys fan and it's hey, I'll take Dak Prescott versus the unknown with the talent they have around him, I'm like, give me Dak Prescott. Give me right now.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this was kind of me looking at it kind of almost objectively. I'm thinking, okay, this is a great way for Dak to obviously shop for his better deals, but it was the fact that now when the Cowboys passed on signing him to a long-term deal by Wednesday, that was something that I was absolutely I couldn't believe that because I thought maybe they would at least get it done last minute, that way they would secure their future. But with this, and it's almost like I don't even know what they were I never really know what the Cowboys thought that they had in a guy like Dak Prescott. This shows me that apparently they don't think he is a guy that is going to be around long term. And it's honestly, I don't think you're going to find a better quarterback in the NFL right now before draft anything. So he's a guy that's already led you to the playoffs a couple times. He's a guy that's I think he owns an average of a 10-6 record, a 40-24 record in the NFL. Now, granted, I still think for the Vikings, for Kirk Cousins' example, for the Vikings and the Cowboys, both quarterbacks have an immense amount of help. Kirk Cousins has had one of the better defenses in the NFL for 2 years now. He's got Delvin Cook, he's got Adam Thielen, all that jazz. But let's not forget all the weapons that Dak has as well. So I think that both of those quarterbacks, I don't know that they can necessarily lead a team when they are necessarily depleted in terms of talent. So I think that's also a big reason as to why the Cowboys are kind of hesitant in saying, okay, is he actually truly a Patrick Mahomes type talent? Because he's obviously not. We just said he's a once in a generational talent. So the question is he enough to bring them by himself to a Super Bowl? I don't think he is. I think he has to have a lot of situations go right. He has to have a lot of the right talent. So I get the deal in terms of maybe not trying to pay him Patrick Mahomes money, but I don't get it in terms of not paying the man long term and at least finding some stability in that in one of the most uncertain position groups in the entire NFL.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm coming from. Then we also had some breaking news. This is from ESPN. 15 women were allegedly sexually assaulted, or there was sexual misconduct, by former Washington employees. This is coming after Daniel Snyder, the owner of the Washington Redskins, announced that the team would be finding a new name, or at least be retiring the name for the Redskins moving forward. And this again comes from ESPN. Let's see here. He obviously, Snyder declined several requests for an interview. Why wouldn't you after something like this? Also did not reply to interview requests. And the NFL has also not responded to this and a request for comment. And this is a quote from the team in the Washington Post. The Washington Redskins football team takes issues of employee content seriously. And that while we do not speak to specific employee situations publicly, when new allegations of conduct are brought forward that are contrary to these policies, we address them promptly. This was one of the most shocking things. This was so far left for me that, especially with just the name change like that. Some people are saying now we get it. I don't know if this has anything to do with the name change. I don't know if this has anything to do with anything. But wow, we'll start with Garrett. What was your reaction to this? I honestly don't know how you can react to this.
I mean, I have a buddy named Landon Ingle who's a big Washington Redskins fan.
Washington.
Yeah, and you're right. Washington, we'll figure it out in a little bit. And he's hated Dan Snyder, and it sounds like every Washington fan hates Dan Snyder. And I mean, when you're told like somebody's such a piece of crap so often, you're like, unfortunately, it doesn't shock me that behind the scenes he's doing some crap. I mean, what was it? What wasn't like the New England Patriots owner just got in trouble Robert Kraft got in trouble for doing some weird stuff at a massage place or something like that. Wouldn't shock me if Jerry Jones is doing something crazy. I mean, unfortunately, this stuff kind of doesn't shock me. I think the NFL is doing really good at before they release a statement that they get all of the facts ready and have all the facts before they actually go and say something. Because the last thing you want to do is go out and say something, and then you find out it's not true, and then you look like an idiot. And when you're the NFL, a giant organization with a huge fan base and a huge following, you can't screw up like that. So those are my thoughts on it. I mean, hopefully, justice gets served and whatever is right prevails in this ordeal, because, from reading some of the comments, it kind of pretty unfortunate that, this happened to those women.
Absolutely. Mr. Connot, go ahead.
Unfortunate circumstances, for the women involved and everything in that organization. But let's wait till all the facts get out. What kind of sucks is I remember last night when all this kind of dropped on Twitter is where I saw it at, people retweeting it, saying, the Washington Post is going to drop this article today, or, on Friday, or on Thursday, Friday, whenever it's going to come out, a day in advance about all this drug abuse and sexual harassment involving guys like Dan Snyder. Even Jay Gruden was, a big part of that. And then they come, there's all this hype, and they come out with it today. And a lot of it was, there was nothing about drugs. Jay Gruden wasn't involved. Dan Snyder wasn't involved. So it seems like there's a lot of missing parts still, and a lot to be discovered. So you can't really jump to any conclusions now, but it sounds like it could get a lot worse, which sucks, for a lot of people that are involved in that, or were involved in that situation. But like Garrett said, can't say I'm shocked. The way that organization's been ran, the way the fans speak about it, the players, it's just been a dumpster fire for a long, long time, and it starts at the top. And not surprised. I hope things get settled. I hope the people that were wronged, I hope they get things, settled and straightened out for them. So guess we'll just see what happens. I think this is just the beginning. I think we're just scratching the surface here for the Washington.
Yeah, thank you. I should have made that distinction right away. Yeah, Washington's football team, excuse me. I apologize. No, I think that this is, first and foremost, I feel sorry for the women. This is it's unacceptable, unfortunately, and it's something that I also think, unfortunately, that it's something that happens quite regularly in NFL teams. It might. I'm thinking that it does, but I hope to God it doesn't. But it's just a shame. It really is, especially with the team that's already facing some of these other questions. And and to me, it at least shows me from the top down how they operate from an organizational standpoint. I think it's one of those things where, like you said, it from the top down. If the core of the apple is bad, the rest of it is going to be bad as well. So for me, it's unfortunate. And, again, I'm going to reiterate what you said. We need to wait till we get all the facts out. Wait for some comments for this thing to kind of unravel, an investigation to take place, the NFL to respond. I think we really need to get the full scope here. But first reaction to this, I'm shocked. I'm offended for the women. I feel for them. That's awful. But I think it's something that we need to kind of wait to see more and just wait to see and hear the facts. And now also I have to we're going to also kind of talk about the Madden 2020 has now released some of their new power rankings and some of their now scores. Now I have to start by saying that honestly there's some of these. This is just the 99 Club. This is from ESPN. We're gonna talk about this. I want you guys to get your guys' take on this because in terms of being the 99 Club, I was just actually having this conversation with a coworker of mine. I feel like for how well Patrick Mahomes has played his first 2 years, he should be the first 100. He should be, especially because if you look at it, I said it before. You can't write as good of a start as this guy has had. You literally second year in the NFL, won MVP. Third year, won a Super Bowl. Like he should be the first 100 overall player in Madden. What do you guys think?
If 2004 Michael Vick wasn't a 100, then there's no way Patrick Mahomes could be a 100. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, Michael Vick was the ultimate cheat. You could just run circles around and also, I'm pretty sure that his injury rating doesn't give him a chance to have 100, and his kicking power. There's no way he's got kicking power in that foot of his.
G can kick a field goal further than Pat Mahomes.
That's a fact.
Bet money.
That's a fact.
Yeah. Okay. I actually got to discuss this too. Did you not? You kicked a field goal to win the state championship in high school. Did you not?
Whoa. No, I did not. I have the game-winning point, and Ben held it
in the third quarter off of whose touchdown?
Off Ben's left side. Yeah, Ben spiked the football and didn't get flagged for it either. But we're not going to talk about that.
Emotions.
It happens. Yeah,
it does.
Okay.
Yep. Ask him
I had to
the field goal.
Yeah, Ben was my holder. Dude,
Okay.
South Dakota doesn't have a hoity, but Ben deserved it.
Yep. There you go.
That's awesome. No, honestly, I think I've never made it a field goal above from where the extra point is. So I'm proud of you, man. That's awesome, especially doing it in a state championship game. So I put your kicking power. What would you say? 57, 58? That's
dude.
Fair.
You think my kicking's a 57, 58?
That's a shot. I'd say 69. 68.
Okay, so we're gonna put this out in a practice setting. The longest I ever made was 44.
Really? Okay, I'll take that back. I'll give you 65.
Granted, it was probably it took 8 attempts. So accuracy can be a 30. I can care less. But to say my power is a 50, these thighs and calves, these are the flockest thighs and calves of legend. And yeah.
Okay, I apologize. I retract it. I'll give you 65.
I'll take a 70 at minimum.
A 70? Okay. This is almost getting ahead. Okay, all right. I'll give you a 70, and we'll get back to the Madden ratings. At number 1, they had Stephen Gilmore, corner of the Patriots, 99 overall. Now, I know this is going to be kind of an offhand thing, but I feel like the Patriots had the best secondary in the entire NFL last year, and it wasn't even close.
Fun fact, Nnamdi Asomugha was the first ever cornerback to be a 99 in Madden.
Really?
Just a little fun fact. My boy Nnamdi Asomugha.
Okay, I didn't know that.
He was the only. You got to realize though, the Raiders when they had him were Nnamdi Asomugha 99, and then their next highest guy up was an 82. Rough years.
Well, and I mean, okay. I also want to talk about this to another Raiders fan. What about Darren McFadden? I feel like everybody, when he got drafted, when the pre-draft process was coming, everybody thought he was going to be better than Adrian Peterson. And like,
Not a chance.
I was, as a Vikings fan, I was so offended. Like, that was one of the rare moments before the draft got started that, like, I was like, are you kidding me? This guy hasn't even played an NFL down yet. You guys are already going to say that he's the best thing since he's here. That is the most blasphemous thing. And this guy, don't get me wrong, Darren McFadden had a relatively successful career, but
grabbing a dog
to just come out and say that.
Line. Yeah. No, yeah. Darren McFadden, I mean, I'm the biggest Adrian Peterson fan in the state of South Dakota, and it's not even close.
That's pretty tough.
So, I'm just gonna say that I mean, Darren McFadden was the right pick for the Raiders that year, but the Raiders had just an absolute abysmal offensive line, and that's and then Darren McFadden ran into injury problems and could never really recover. And I mean, it didn't help that you don't run the ball when you're down 21 by the start of the second quarter.
Okay. Also, I gotta ask. Okay, you're the biggest Adrian Peterson. Can you tell me how many rushing yards he had in his rookie year?
A lot.
1,331 and 238 carries. You can look these stats up, by the way. I'm telling you, this guy, I literally will. I will go to bat with you on this. The biggest Adrian Peterson fan. You didn't
even watch him when he was at Oklahoma.
Okay, I've seen games. Okay, I'm not going to say that I'm on the same level.
His whole career.
When he got to the NFL.
His whole career.
Okay, all right. Okay, all right. Fine. The first
jersey.
I did. What happened was when I was growing up,
I've got 4, bud.
Okay, fair enough. Wow. All right. Okay, I guess I got into too deep of waters here. But point is, I had an Adrian Peterson jersey, but I was the biggest like fan of being like the best running back in the NFL, like when I was like in 4th grade. So my mom bought me these football pads, and I remember I used to play in the backyard on them, and it completely wrecked my primo Adrian Peterson jersey. It completely wrecked it. And I remember now that I'm thinking, I was like, dude, what the heck was I thinking? Why would I damage a primo Adrian Peterson jersey? Like, I don't know what I was thinking, but that's the only jersey I have of AP. You know what? That brings up an interesting thing. I probably do need to stock up on some of my favorite player NFL jerseys. I have a Teddy Bridgewater jersey. I don't know if that probably has no validity here. But I do need to stock up on more jerseys there. But okay, then we'll go to the second rating here according to the NFL rankings. Harrison Smith at a 95. I actually agree with this. Now, I feel like he has been criminally rated over the years. Not saying that they didn't necessarily get it right, but he at least deserves to be a 95. And I think what year was it? I was back in college when I was with my buddies. I always played as the Vikings, no matter what, and they were like a 75 overall. They had Anthony Barr, Harrison Smith. It was back when they had like Robert Blanton at safety, so it was awful. Like they were not a good team. I realized that, but they literally had Harrison Smith rated at like an 82 or something. I couldn't believe. I was like, this guy's been one of the best safeties in the NFL for the entire way here. What about you guys? Thoughts on the Harrison Smith rating?
I'm with you on this. I love Harrison Smith. I think Harrison Smith he can do it all. He can play man to man. He can do coverage. He can take on. He can. I think he's one of the highest leading defensive backs with sacks. Yeah, I think I'm good for him. Like when I saw it, I was really shocked because Harrison Smith always gets flack on like safety awards, and God bless you, EA Sports, for giving Harrison Smith the props he deserves. Really quickly, the one that they really, really messed up on was like Jordan Poyer from the Bills. He's not even a 90, and I think that's kind of a crock because listen to these stats over like the last like 3 seasons. So he's been consistent over the last 3 seasons. He has 302 tackles. He has 11 interceptions, and he has 5 sacks, and he's not like a 90 overall. And I mean, I think Jordan Poyer should be higher up there as a safety, but that's my opinion. He must have low kicking power.
Well, that would be something I agree with, and I think EA Sports has to do a better job of maybe I don't know, like I know it's hard, but like you have to be able to like look at a player like and see what their body of work is. I feel like that's probably one of the hardest things to do, but still, you're EA Sports, you got to be able to do it. Ben, your take?
Well, if you know me, I'm big Notre Dame fan, so I would say I like Harrison Smith a lot. Sucks he plays for the Vikings, and he's been there for a while. But I'm a huge Harrison Smith fan because of Notre Dame. He also has one of the coolest nicknames in the NFL, and and he's a true professional. I think a lot of guys could take notes on what he's done. He doesn't run his mouth, and he's not the one trying to get all the bright lights on him like a lot of the safeties that you see. He's not causing drama, locker room problems. He's just a true professional, goes to work every day, and is really, really freaking good at it. Being a safety myself, I mean, that's a guy you want to watch. I mean, game film right there. And when I watch the Vikings, all I do is watch Harrison Smith. I don't even watch anything else that's going on. I don't care what the offense is in. I watch Harrison Smith. He's one of the greatest to do it. And I love him. I've watched him since he was at Notre Dame, and took after him obviously as an athlete as well, playing free safety. So love Harrison Smith. He's absolutely the best safety in the NFL, has been for a long time, and he will be for a long time, going forward. And as far as Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde was actually rated in the top 10 for safeties as well. So they might have knocked him there. You can't have like two safeties on the same team in the 90s. That'd be pretty crazy. Micah Hyde, former Packer, let him go. So kind of sucks to see him walk, but I'm glad he's doing well. He's a big fan favorite in Green Bay. So wish he would have kept on to him, but things happen.
Did you see they gave some Jair Alexander some love? They gave him a lot of love for a second year. He's the number 4 overall cornerback, and he's in his second year in the league.
He's an animal.
I know.
And Aaron Rodgers.
I was shocked. I was shocked by it, but I was like, dang.
Yeah. That's because they gave Rodgers an 89 rating. If Rodgers ever below a 90,
people were so mad. People were so mad about that.
It's incredible. We're talking about Mahomes being a 99 generational talent. Rodgers is before him. There's no way he should be lower than a 90.
Tom Brady got a 90.
I know, and Rodgers is better than him.
Yeah,
at this point in his career. Whatever.
Yeah, there's no disputing that. But the question to me is Aaron Rodgers still an elite quarterback? Is he still a guy that without talent alone he can still lead you to?
Let me ask you this question, Colton. Let me ask you this question. Are you scared of Aaron Rodgers when the Vikings play them?
Oh, every time.
Yes, he is. Then he's elite.
Can he win a
if you're scared of a quarterback, they're elite.
Okay, can I just say something here though? That actually is not 100% true because of the fact of how the Vikings secondary has been in years past. Not now necessarily because it's a little bit better. They've got some good players, but to sit here and tell me that just because you're scared of Aaron Rodgers, not including the rest of the Packer team, would be blasphemy. Every team is scared of Aaron Rodgers, so don't give me just me. Everybody's scared of Aaron Rodgers.
That's why he's elite.
Rodgers. Yeah,
that's why he's elite.
So elite. Here's the thing though, but you don't care about the decline over the last couple of years. You don't care about how much. Now again, okay. I actually. Of the fact that, and I guess some of it could be the fact that he doesn't have anybody at wide receiver, so other than Devontae Adams. But I mean, still to sit here and say that for sure he hasn't lost something. Like I've seen him make, as a Vikings fan, I have seen this man make some throws that I sit there, I rewind at least 10 times while watching the game. I will sit there and rewind 10 times just because, like, how did he do that? Like in terms of accuracy, touch, velocity, everything. There are throws I've seen Aaron Rodgers make in the past that I don't think he can make now. So I do think he has lost some stuff. Yeah. So, but I mean, that's what I mean in terms of elite. When he was what he was, there was no question. I think now you just can't not at least bring into question. Is he lost a little something? Now I get the argument that again doesn't have a lot of talent other than Devontae Adams. Aaron Jones is going to be taking over the reins here. So I don't know. Maybe we'll guess. We'll see as we go along here. Yeah. Now I'm looking at the rest of these Madden ratings. Micah Hyde got an 88. That was another Packer I was always afraid to see because what he did as a punt returner, but I actually want to bring up another corner here, Patrick Peterson, an 88 overall. Is it me or is Patrick Peterson not probably the best, or if not one of the best corners in the NFL for a long time?
Yeah,
he's quieted down a little bit in the past couple of years, but he's still amazing.
Cardinals.
Yeah. But nothing to warrant him going down to an 88.
Well, I mean, Aaron Rodgers went down to an 89, so I'm not shocked.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. But I get okay. All right, fair enough.
I'm having way too much fun with this. Oh.
And then I'm looking at this. Tom Brady at 90 still. That's blasphemous. I think he should be at least an 85. Aaron Rodgers 89. Yeah. I'm just checking these out firsthand. Joe Mixon 89. Joe Mixon's a good running back. That was one thing I didn't realize.
Yes.
Yeah, I was kind of going through it. I was looking at ESPN's like top running backs, and they had Joe Mixon above Dalvin Cook. I was like, are you nuts? But I watched highlights of him and looked at over his stats. He's had a couple seasons of over 1,000 yards. Dalvin Cook can't stay healthy. So I realized why they put him above. But I realized how good of a running back Joe Mixon really is.
What? Just really quickly, what does it have for Aaron Jones?
Aaron Jones, I believe, was a 90.
Aaron Jones should be like the exact same as Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
Except he led the league in touchdowns last year.
Aaron Jones did?
Yeah, he ended up beating McCaffrey by like 1.
Here's the thing, though. And this is Tristan. He brought this up on the last podcast. We're talking about our best running backs of all time. I feel like Dalvin Cook is more of a home run threat. What's that?
Adrian Peterson, number 1.
Okay, yes, obviously we've already covered that. But in terms of like overall like home run ability, I believe Dalvin Cook is the better running back. But like and talking about from a full running back perspective, like all around player, I feel like Aaron Jones is the better running back because of the fact he can catch the football. Now Dalvin Cook can catch the football too, but you have to realize Aaron Jones is really coming into himself as a full entire running back, including pass blocking. Dalvin Cook, sometimes I watch him pass block, I shudder because I don't know what's going to happen. Not saying he's not solid, but I've seen him get run over by quite a few people. I don't see that happening to Aaron Jones.
Yeah, I think Aaron Jones' progress. I mean, he came in the league a really shaky pass blocker, and that's what Jamal Williams, their backup, kind of was. He was there on pass protecting and goal line stuff, which was good. But Aaron Jones, I mean, he really made a lot of progress last year, and that's why I saw him staying in on third downs. And it also helps Aaron Jones as the second leading receiver for the Green Bay last year, which is not great when your running back is a second leading receiver on your team. So we'll see what happens this year. We got guys healthy in the out wide now, and drafted a running back in the 3rd round, I believe, out of BC. We'll see what things look like. I think the main point is just keeping Rodgers healthy, and feeding Adams and Aaron Jones, and I think you can win a lot of football games doing that. So,
yeah. What do you guys think about my assessment though of Dalvin Cook, saying he's more of a home run threat than Aaron Jones?
Yeah, big time. He's probably one of the best home run threats in the league. I mean, he's so fat. I mean, his burst is crazy. His vision's crazy. Been doing it his whole career.
I mean, you see why the Vikings run so many screens for him.
Yeah.
One really quick thing that I wanted to say on like these Madden ratings, and like don't get me wrong, I really like the guy that I'm about to talk about, but I don't think he should be at 98 with his injuries and with how much little he's played. I have a tough time with J.J. Watt being a 98. And then I see Khalil Mack is a 97, and I'm just like, don't get me wrong, like J.J. Watt's still like a, plus 90 up there, like top defensive end. But to say that, he's near perfect with what he's faced injury-wise the past, I mean, I can't remember the last time he wasn't really injured in a season. Yeah. So that's one of them I kind of disagree with too, if we're going to talk about it.
I absolutely agree with that, because now I feel like it wasn't very long ago, for like a 4-year period, J.J. Watt was one of the most feared defensive players in the entire NFL. Like he was catching touchdowns, he was sacking quarterbacks, he was just one of those guys that every Sunday offenses made sure they game planned for at least 2 blockers towards J.J. Watt, and he's just a fear. Like that was just one of the things the bravado that he came onto the field with. So I agree with that. Now I think in terms of rating, I would put him at probably a 90. I would say 95, because he's still pretty good. He's still got it. Like J.J. Watt is still a top tier, defensive lineman. What do you think, Ben?
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I mean, to think he's only 1 point less than Aaron Donald just blows my mind, because I think Aaron Donald's just out of this world. I mean, he's a freak, and the numbers he's put up the last few years just mind-boggling. But J.J. Watt was at that same point in his career, but that was a while ago. So to have, I mean, like Garrett said, injuries and he just hasn't been there the last few years. It's hard to see him as a 98. Is he a 95? Yeah, I mean, he's still elite. You can put him in that club, but to be one less than Aaron Donald, I think is just that's not right.
Yeah, I agree. And he's injured a lot, but over the last couple of seasons, he's still managed to average 20 sacks during the regular season. That's cash money for him. Like that's one thing he's going to do is make sure to get those stats. So again, I do agree with that. I think he's still a really good player. Now, one of these actual ratings for running backs that I was really upset with because I feel like this guy is criminally underrated. Whoever made Madden ratings should probably really look at their life because if you put Alvin Kamara at an 88. Alvin Kamara, there was a point in time during 2017 when the Saints, in 2018 when the Saints were just destroying people, or whatever it was when the Vikings were number one, and they started giving Alvin Kamara the ball. I thought this man was the best running back in football. I really did, especially with the way he runs, elusiveness, speed, all of it, screen game. All around running backs, you want to talk about a guy that just wows you? Alvin Kamara is that guy. What did you guys think? 88 on Alvin Kamara, what did you guys think? Either one. I'll take either one at this point.
I'm shocked. I thought he would be above 90 for sure. I don't know. He's awesome. I love the guy. I loved him back in 2017, 18, like you said. I mean, he was the number one fantasy guy there for 2 years. I mean, he was must pick number one overall. That's the guy you want to go to. And to see him at 88 now is just kind of shocking. And I don't think a lot of people are. I mean, I can't even think of the Saints running backs other than him right now. That would be taking a ton of people. I mean, ton of carries and stuff from him. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I know he was kind of quiet last year, but
okay. Yes, he was quiet last year, but over the last 3 seasons, he scored 37 touchdowns, has over 4,400 yards, total yards, that is, and he's caught 81 passes in the last 3 years consistently. 81 passes each season. Now he's got Drew Brees throwing to him, and obviously they're going to throw a lot of screen passes to him. But this guy, 37 touchdowns in the last 3 years, at least averaging 12 touchdowns in terms of catching and running the football. I mean, I don't think you could ask much more from a running back. I love him ever since he was coming out of Tennessee. And I mean, my buddy is a gigantic Tennessee fan. He said the Saints got a real one there. I absolutely agree with it. Garrett, you got anything to add before we move into the final couple of things here?
I just remember, like, when I was living with Ben, he showed me a video of Alvin Kamara, like, working out. And, like, the dude's, like, pulling buses and just doing, like, not just, like, regular squats. Like, he's just doing, like, freakish workouts because he is a freak human being. I mean, after week 3 or week 4 of the NFL, he's going to be above a 90. Like, I'm pretty positive of it. Madden gets it wrong. I mean, Aaron Rodgers shouldn't be an 89, right? We've already discussed that and agreed on that. I think Alvin Kamara will be above a 90. I'm really curious like when they come out with these ratings and they have our overall ratings. I always try to think to myself, I wonder what they have as Alvin Kamara's like speed and what they have as his acceleration. Because I mean, he should be like a 95, right? At the very minimum. At the minimum, right? Yeah. And so I'm just like, okay, are they trashing his ball carrying? Are they trashing his like getting off tackles? Are they trashing his receiving stats? Like I those are the things that always are making me like curious and like where did they really just butcher this guy's stat line to make him drop all the way to an 88?
Well, it says here in terms of all those things, they've got him a 94 on speed, which okay. And his catching is a 77. I just said he caught 81 passes the last 3 years. I don't understand how. And let's see, his agility is a 93. That's on point because I mean this guy can just fly. And then his carrying, they gave him a 90. So I don't understand how. So let's see what they dogged him on then because strength a 77. I don't know about that.
That's mean.
I mean, compared to Saquon Barkley, yeah, maybe, but
Saquon's an 89. Saquon's an 89.
That's pretty strong for a running back.
No, 89 overall.
Oh yeah. Oh,
that's awful.
So yeah,
that's
Madden apparently doesn't like running backs.
Dude, Saquon kind of cost me fantasy football last year, so I was okay with it.
The man missed a couple games. I mean,
dude, he didn't do much in his games he was in.
Okay, you try this man has got one of the worst offensive lines in football. You try running behind that offensive line.
Dude,
Yeah.
Joe Mixon had it worse, and he was balling. That's why
Okay,
that's why he's higher up.
Okay, that's true. Well, I mean, if I think, and then maybe Ben can answer this a little bit better because I never had it. Like, I was never really athletic, or I've never really had a high ankle sprain or anything like that. So I don't know. In terms of, I've heard from more athletic people that a high ankle sprain is actually more severe than just a normal like ankle sprain, because it's like it actually has other parts of the leg that are involved in it. It damages you more. It damages you more mentally and physically rather than just a normal ankle sprain. An ankle sprain, I feel like you can just kind of tape up and play on. You're not 100%, but with a high ankle sprain, you're kind of, and that was the thing with Adrian Peterson too. He's missed games because of high ankle sprains. If Adrian Peterson, this guy was literally molded in the running back workshop. So if that guy's gonna miss a game because of a high ankle sprain, I don't know what to tell you. So I mean, again, Joe Mixon may have tore it up, but Adrian Peterson missing, that tells you all you need to know.
Yeah.
All right, and then finally, we've got a couple other things to cover here, and then I'll leave these guys alone. I feel like this has been something that with Cam and Odell. Cam, obviously, elephant in the room, that everybody's asking if he's going to replace Tom Brady. I personally don't. I don't think you replace Tom Brady. I don't think you can replace 6 Super Bowls. It doesn't happen like that. Now, do I think he can do some things that Tom Brady can? Of course. Cam, in his own way, was made in the lab. He's, 6'4", 6'5", huge, can run. He's got a rocket of an arm. Does he give Daniels a little bit more of an arsenal to be able to do what he wants to do? Yes, I believe he does. But the point is, if you are going to sit here and tell me that Tom Brady in any way is not the GOAT, or it will be ever forgotten, just because even if Cam somehow finds a way to win 1 or 2 Super Bowls, it ain't 6. Like, I mean, like the point, like, yes, he's more athletically gifted, but elephant in the room, do you guys think at some point people will be talking about how Cam Newton replaced Tom Brady?
Here's what intrigues me is we can talk about Belichick and Tom Brady. Is Tom Brady, I think the question that what we'll kind of find out here, we can really dig deep into is Tom Brady a product of the system? Is Belichick that good of a quarterback or a coach, sorry, that good of a coach that he was able to set Brady up for that kind of success? Can he do that with Cam Newton? That's what we're going to find out. I think with Cam Newton, if Belichick's that great, the Patriots are going to be a feared team, especially with that defense. Holy cow. And, now you get Cam Newton. That would be an awesome guy to have. I mean, to have a quarterback that can do that, I've been there as a coach myself. It is a lot of fun. And so I think we'll find out, if he can make Cam Newton great and make them a contender. I think we start to question, maybe is Tom Brady a product of the system? Tom Brady played in a lot of really, really good teams. I mean, he wasn't the only guy carrying a team here. I think there's a lot to say for Belichick that hasn't been said yet. I think Belichick's a true GOAT that we should be talking about. I respect Brady. I think he's good. But I personally think he's a product of the system. And I think we'll find out. I think that question will be answered depending on how Cam Newton does.
Garrett, what do you think, my man?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm curious to see how Cam Newton's going to look after being, I feel like hopefully he got to be, at least close to 100% healthy with this NFL season coming up. Yeah, I mean, it's going to come down to the Bills and the Patriots for that East spot, and you're going to find out real quickly if how the Patriots season I feel is going to go in those first 3 to 4 games with Cam behind the center. The one thing that I really question about this, and we talked about this in a previous podcast, is they're probably only going to have Cam Newton. If he does well, he might be there for another couple years after that. I really don't know how Cam Newton's contract situation would work if he did really well or just did okay. Or the whole Jameis Winston thing, or if they should have went after Jameis Winston and tried to lock him up for 4 to 5 years. Okay, you can't shake your head no when you said Jameis Winston was going to go light it up for plus 40 touchdowns if he went to New England.
Over. Yes, I did say that, but over Cam Newton.
No.
not over Cam Newton. I thought they would at least. I didn't think they were going to try to get Cam Newton because I just didn't think about that. But now that I'm thinking about it, now that they've got Cam Newton, I have to admit there's a good chance that Cam Newton is. They're more of a contender now, especially with Cam Newton.
Yeah, and like I said, it's just one of those things that just goes on in my brain where I'm like, okay, how is this all going to work out? Like contract wise and year wise, how is Cam going to do? I think it's really dangerous that Jameis gets to sit behind Drew Brees and he gets to actually take a year for his body to heal, his body to learn. So when Drew Brees decides to hang it up, I'll be curious to see how Jameis does after that, especially because we'll see if LASIK did anything or if that's just a joke.
Let that LASIK set in. We'll see.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, it's always nice to, see a kind of a comeback story because, if it's anything that I've seen from the videos of Cam Newton, he's kind of a man on a mission. He's really determined, to show people I'm still, super Cam, I'm going to go and I'm going to make a name and I'm going to, ball out. And, don't get me wrong, that's what you want to see. You want to see the best athletes at their best, at least that's what I want to see, man. I don't want to watch Sunday Night Football and watch the Patriots with a Cam Newton who's being average versus, some other team where, yeah, but you know what I mean though. I want to watch, entertainment. I want to see these guys go out there and ball. The only people that I truly want to do bad are Patrick Mahomes and Drew Lock and.
How can you not you have to like Patrick Mahomes?
No. Okay, so here's the thing. I love Patrick. I love Patrick Mahomes as a human being. I think he's a great human being. I think what he does for Kansas City is absolutely phenomenal, and I hope he stays injury free. He doesn't have those problems. But I can wish him to throw 2 interceptions a game. I can wish him to have a completion rating of 50 to 60%. I can hope he doesn't throw over 300 yards.
None of those happen.
Dude, you're right. You're not. You're absolutely not. But I can dream. I can dream about it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Maybe in 2031.
Yeah.
You know what it's like. You had to watch Brett Favre torch the Vikings. Then you had to watch Aaron Rodgers torch the Vikings.
I don't want to talk about this. This guy's extremely personal, way too fast.
Actually, I went and looked this up, I think, about a month or two ago. And, since Zimmer's been, the head coach for, the Vikings, I think their record against the Packers is, 9-10-1 or something close to that. It's very 50-50. And that's why I personally, really like when the Vikings and Packers play, right? Play. I'm personally not a fan of them being, matched up as, the first 3 games of the year. I kind of want them to have 5 to 6 games of other games before they play their first matchup. And then for instance, this past year, I think they played in week 16 or week 16 where it was a very determining on seeding for the playoffs. And I'm that's when I want to watch the Vikings and Packers go at it.
Absolutely. And that's funny you mentioned that because I was just thinking about that too the other night. I want to say it was either 2015 or 2016. This was the Vikings they've had Mike Zimmer as a head coach for a couple years now. He's starting to build the defense, the team he wants. He's starting to build something here. And the Vikings go to Lambeau on a Sunday Night Football game. That had to be one of the most viewed games of all time because I was getting off work. I was working at a grocery store at the time. I was a sophomore in college, and I remember my dad's "Hey, get your butt home. Let's go watch this game," because it was going to be a blow. It was going to be just a good old fashioned. It's the black and blue division. It's the NFC North. So my dad's "Hey, get your butt home. Grab a pizza on your way home. Let's watch this thing." And from the first snap to the last, it just didn't disappoint. That's what football is supposed to be about. Those slug. Those good old-fashioned, 3-yard runs that nobody really cares about. That's what football is supposed to be about, and especially 2 rival teams going at it. The Vikings, for the very first time, beat the Packers. Were NFC North champions, and that was the first time in 5 or 6 years. It's a while because Rodgers at his prime, there was nobody going to touch Aaron Rodgers. And then when he kind of didn't get any more help for a while, that kind of let the Vikings come up and after they grabbed some players and everything. So that was one of those things. That's a great thing to say there, Garrett, because that's absolutely true. I actually kind of want to refute something, reverting back to Cam Newton here a little bit, and then we can talk about the Vikings Packers some more. I did say Jameis Winston, yes, would tear it up if he went to the Patriots, because specifically he would not throw as near as many interceptions. However, in my wildest dreams, I never dreamed that the Panthers would ever let Cam Newton walk over Teddy Bridgewater. Now, don't get me wrong. I got a flag now, not a Teddy Bridgewater poster anymore. Well, the poster's over there. Point is, I love Teddy Bridgewater. I just from who he was as a quarterback, who he was as a person, as a teammate, a player, all that jazz. But Teddy Bridgewater over Cam Newton, even an injured Cam Newton. Like, I understand he had a couple shoulder surgeries. I just feel like no matter how much better Teddy Bridgewater got, to just let Cam Newton just show him the door. I did not expect that. So now that I'm seeing this, now that the Patriots put it with one of the best coaches of all time, which again we'll get to see if Brady was the product of a system. One of the best coaches of all time, with one of the guys that was almost made in a lab for how athletically gifted this guy is. So now that I'm seeing that, I'm more in love with that than with the Jameis pick originally. So I kind of had to really defend myself a little bit there because I felt like that was something that we had to touch on, because yes, I did say that, but come on, it's football. We got to be able to be a little bit wild out there sometimes.
You got to be flexible. I know. I feel
yeah. But okay, so then let's go kind of back to this Cam Newton thing. Unless you want to talk about the Vikings and Packers games, or maybe give us a little bit more something from that there, Garrett.
I do have breaking news.
What's up?
Yeah, let's hear it.
So a few hours ago, I was notified that Aaron Rodgers and Danica Patrick are no longer dating.
Oh no!
If you can't recall, a single Aaron Rodgers is a very scary thing. Where you
just
focus on football. Yeah, it's getting cleared up here, so you boys better be ready. We better hope there's a season.
Dude, I play the AFC West. I don't have to see you.
You can watch us have success.
I watch football. I have 3 games going at the same time.
If you accompany that fact that Aaron Rodgers plays really well single, and also the fact he's got a young kid coming for his job, yikes! We were one game away last year. Yeah, so. I'm scared. Like if I wasn't scared before, I'm telling you, I actually am shaking. Like I'm shaking over here because I do feel like even Aaron Rodgers last year, even though he didn't have the most talent, he was still a guy that you're like, when the clock hit 0, that's when you knew the game was truly over.
Yeah.
That's who he is as a player, because that's just how dynamite he is and how he's always going to be. So, I had to hand it to Tristan. We had the greatest quarterback debate of all time, and he actually made a lot of good points about why Aaron Rodgers is the greatest quarterback of all time. Now, I didn't agree with it, but I still feel like he made a lot of good points. Oh, and the dog, my girlfriend loves your dog. I'm not gonna lie to you. She might want to take it from you.
Yeah, he's the best.
Yeah,
he probably thinks I'm not giving him enough attention right now, but he can. He's fine.
Now, let's okay. Cam Newton, I just want to talk about this one last time. Now, I'm not even talking about him replacing, because again, you don't replace Tom Brady in my opinion. But there's the fact that he's putting out all these tweets and all these Instagram messages, posts that are basically saying, can't judge me. Like he's kind of. I feel like he's almost rejuvenated a little bit, just based off of what he's posting. Now, question here is, how scared should we actually be? Because if we're talking about a 2017 Cam Newton in which the Vikings, which I believe they were heading for the playoffs. Everybody knew that. But then they went to Carolina and got swamped by Cam Newton, who ran over. I think he either ran he juked Anderson Dejo out of his cleats. Like that's a primo Cam Newton. So how scared should we be if, in fact, this Cam Newton, the guy that we fear, when he is fully healthy, like how scared should we truly be, especially if he's this rejuvenated? We'll start with Ben. I'm sorry.
Former league MVP. I don't see why he can't get back to that caliber. I mean, in all honesty, Garrett, talking about Jameis Winston, he gets a year off, let his body heal, sit behind Drew Brees. Cam Newton's in the same boat here, takes a year off. He's healthy now, at least as far as we know, working out harder than ever.
Mm-hmm.
He gets to be coached by the greatest coach football's ever seen. New England's no slouch. I mean, we talk about how great their secondary was, how incredible their defense was there to start the year. To me, this is, it still has this Edelman. I mean, the parts are there. Sony Michel, really underrated running back. I would be scared. And you were playing in it's a weak division. I don't think AFC East is not a strong division, in my opinion. There's no reason they can't make to the playoffs. And we all know once you get to the playoffs, it's, who knows what happens in the playoffs. It's just a different game. When you play in playoff football, you get one game and you play your best. You don't know what's going to happen. I think Cam Newton's that guy that the chip on his shoulder, the games, I think I'd be scared of him. I would be absolutely scared of him, and I am scared of him. I'm just glad I don't have to, the Packers don't have to see him until if it's a Super Bowl. So I'm really intrigued to see what he can do. I really am. I've been a Cam Newton fan, since he was at Auburn. Just like the guy, like his personality. He dresses weird, but
he does.
Yeah.
My God, I'm
dresses like an old grandma. But yeah, I'm looking forward to see what he can do. I think he's a great football player. We were raving about Lamar Jackson last year. He was Lamar Jackson before there was Lamar Jackson. So I think he's going to be great. I really do.
Mm-hmm. Mr. James, do your thing.
It's kind of nice too because their first game of the season is a home game, and from the way it sounds, there's gonna be about 25% of the stadium's gonna be allowed to watch in the stadium. But he gets to play the Dolphins in Week 1, and that will be kind of like after, because it sounds like they're only gonna do 2 preseason games, so he's gonna get some time to mesh with them and actually have an NFL game. Week 2 is gonna be like a must watch because the New England Patriots travel all the way to Seattle to play the Seahawks on Sunday Night Football. And I think that's going to be a game that everybody looks at as kind of like is Cam Newton back type of a deal. Is he going to be able to play against Russell Wilson in Seattle against that defense? And like I said, that's the Sunday night matchup that I want to watch as a fan.
I think something that's going to be intriguing. You bring up playing in Seattle. If there is fans at all. Seattle. When you play in Seattle, it's tough because of the environment. But if you don't have any fans in there, home field advantage in the NFL is crucial. You get such an advantage of the home field. Without fans, though, I think there's going to be a lot more, intriguing matchups on the road. If guys like you said, Cam Newton going to Seattle, I think it'll be a lot closer than you think because of the fact that there won't be any fans there, or if there is, there won't be very, not near as much, which it really hurts Seattle.
Yeah.
And another thing that I've heard too is that teams usually travel like a day before their game. There's rumors of them like traveling like the day of the game or like the day, like they're not like they have to like, they don't get that extra day to, relax and adjust. So I'm curious on if that's going to happen or not. It'll be definitely interesting, like how they deal with road teams have to deal with these COVID measures. For the first time in NFL history, the Vikings and Packers will play Week 1. They play in Minnesota, and as of right now, the Vikings are a 3.5-point favorite.
That's blasphemous. I'm sorry. I'm a diehard Vikings fan. I will go. I literally go with my team to the edges of the earth. But 3.5-point favorites. I don't care. I don't care even if there is a full stadium, especially with an angry Aaron Rodgers. The Packers didn't get any better, but they didn't get any worse. The Vikings have more questions than answers at their secondary right now in terms of their corners. I don't know how I feel about that. They've got a lot. They've added a lot of guys, so I think it'll take a couple games to really get any kind of a foothold. But 3.5-point favorite. That's a little steep if you ask me.
They play at noon, so Kirk Cousins won't be a D-grade quarterback.
That's true. Like I don't know. Like I think it was a Monday night game when they played Seattle. He absolutely, like when the Vikings were down like 3 touchdowns, he was like, okay, I think I can start to play like a franchise quarterback, and threw like 3 straight touchdowns, got the Vikings back into it, and then he was done. Like I was like, what? Like I don't understand. There are certain games he turns it on, and there's certain games that he doesn't, and then or when he plays Chicago, because apparently Khalil Mack has his number. So I don't know. I think it's kind of one of those things where. As a Vikings fan, you some days you're happy you have him, and the other days you're like, like this would be really nice to like draft one franchise quarterback other than Dante Culpepper, who, as we know, didn't pan out in the very end. But anyway, I think that's all we had to talk about. You guys want to add anything more? Madden ratings, nothing. Is that it?
I'm gonna add 2 things really quick, just because I'm looking at like the Week 1 lines. The Lions at home are a 1.5-point favorite against the Bears,
Wow.
and I guess. And I guess I know these are some fun lines that I'm looking at right now. To be honest with you guys, and quick. And my last thing that I'll have to say is I just got a quick question for you guys. Yes, no, or if you want to add a little bit onto it, do you think the Raiders will make it as a wild card this year?
Ooh. You go ahead, Ben. I gotta kind of like stew over this. I
think a lot of things got to go right for them. You know, I don't know. That's tough.
I mean, they lose 2 games. They have to play the Chiefs twice. They had to lose 2 games. They play the Chiefs twice.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. That's tough. New stadium though. Who knows? They might throw something on. Little in Vegas. Get lucky. I think a lot of things have to go. What division do they play this year? Like
they get to play like Carolina, Buccaneers,
NFC South.
Falcons, NFC South, and
that's a tough
they
division.
Get to play oh man, I'm looking at their schedule right now. We got to play the East. So we got to play like the Jets, Dolphins, Bills, and Patriots.
I'm going to say no. They don't make the playoffs.
I still think the Bills are severely slept on, and it's almost criminal because and they got Diggs, they got Josh Allen too. So I think he's going to really show people as to why he was drafted in the first. I think Josh Allen is a great quarterback. I really do. I think he's going to do a lot of great things for the Bills in the future. But he has to cash in on that. But then you also have to look at what they added. I mean, if you look at just the Henry Ruggs pick alone, I'm in love with the Raiders. I think especially you guys got Josh Jacobs at running back. Your defense is steadily improving. Darren Waller at tight end. Even Derek Carr can't screw this up. Like, and that's not a sly at Derek Carr. I just think that he needs a little bit more.
Can, though.
I feel like if
he's a great human being
right now.
Hey, you have Mariota, don't you?
We do have Mariota.
And Mariota. So
he's won some football games.
Yeah,
and then Ryan Tannehill. And then Ryan Tannehill took the same team he had and took him to the promised land.
Yeah, that's true. So I feel like with the Raiders defense improving, Darren Waller at tight end, and all these weapons, I think they've got a shot. But for right now, if they have to play the Bills, I'm sorry, did you say they play the Patriots?
So here's just really quickly. They play the AFC East, they play the NFC South, and then their 2 other rando games, that you have to get thrown into your schedule are the Browns and the Colts.
Okay, Browns, I can see them winning. The NFC South though against the Falcons and the Saints and
the Buccaneers?
I don't know. Yeah, the Buccaneers.
To be honest with you, I'm not really scared of the Falcons, and I'm not really scared of the Panthers. And the Raiders' first ever home game is Week 2, Monday Night Football against the Saints. And there's going to be some Al Davis magic. It just happens. It just happens.
Okay. I'll say this.
That's me being optimistic, by the way.
That's okay. That's you need to be optimistic, especially as well as a Raiders fan. I mean, at least you guys have a Super Bowl. But point is, I believe when the Vikings opened up their stadium, I don't remember what year it was. I think it was Week 2 against the Packers on either Sunday night or Monday Night Football. I remember talking to one of my buddies, and he said, if the Vikings lose this game, just burn the thing down. Just burn it because it's the very first game they were going to play. And I agreed with it. I was like, if that happens in a brand new, state-of-the-art, awesome stadium, yes, probably burn it down because it's that's bad juju. You don't want that on anybody. For the Raiders, I think it's
that game. Fun fact about that game, Colton: the Packers scored the first touchdown.
Yep.
Packers scored the first touchdown in the new stadium. Just so you know that.
Yeah. Thank you. I didn't need to be reminded, but I appreciate it though.
Sleep well tonight.
I don't sleep well anyways because I just don't sleep anymore. No, I realized that. I think my buddy said he was actually, I can't remember what side he was on, but he was like only a couple rows up from the end zone, and he just said that the Packers tried. I think they might have tried a Lambeau Leap. I don't remember, but if they did, I can assure you there was at least one cup of beer thrown at them because that was that would not have been a good thing. But no, I think that's all we had for this episode. I think this is 43, 44, 45, something like that. You get doing these things so many times you kind of forget what it is. I gotta thank you guys for coming on again. This is actually, I gotta give Garrett credit here. This is actually his idea, and I think this was a lot of fun, man. Thanks to both of you for coming on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. Always love it.
Yep.
So one more time, make sure you guys give these guys a follow. Oh, before we go, I actually have to do one more thing. Benjamin, can I call you Ben? Jim? What am I? Jimothy?
Whatever you want to call me.
He got married. I got to give him a little bit of a shout out here. Congratulations to you and Keely. I didn't get the chance to tell you guys this, but I wish you guys nothing but true happiness for the rest of your lives. And that's just awesome. I'm so happy for you guys. So I had to say that before we took off here. And just let them, if you guys could also just give them a little bit of love too, just let them know how happy you guys for them too. That would be great. Also, one last thing, make sure you guys give them a follow on all social media as well as us. I feel like that's a given. But until our next episode, peace out.